H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys supports 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus. One-time pay, lifetime access to live classes and videos. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For free demo class, visit h2kinfosys.com.
Go ahead.
Version number, if there are changes in the test data, if there are the minor changes, we change like 1.1 or 1.11. But if there are major changes, depending on what kind of description we are following, we change like 1.01, 1.02.
Yeah, and yeah, correct. So if you have major changes in the test case, we will go to from 1.0 to we'll go to 2.0. So I repeat here again for the benefit of all of you. So imagine, I just imagine my reviewer has just told me that okay, everything looks fine, and just add, instead of precondition, just add as scenario or something. So scenario or sub scenario. Okay, so in that case I just change it, and I'll put here as implemented the review comments, and I'll just put it as initially it was 0.1, so initially it was 0.0, so after that minor change I'll put to 0.1. Okay, so I do, and yeah, you can have, I got a question saying like, can we have version number column next to the comments? We can have version number next to the comments, but normally we will have only one version document for documents, so you don't want to maintain the history of version number, but you have to maintain the history of comments. Okay, so you can have version number here.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you said this change is so minor, the version will be 0.1.
Yeah.
But how do you know it's 0.1 with the 1.0 or with the 2.0?
Okay. Yeah. So if you see here, whatever change I have done, I just changed precondition to scenario. So that's a small change. So for that, what you can do is you can actually put 0.1. Initially, the version was 0.0. So you can actually put 0.1 version, or what you can do is you can actually change 0.01 as well. Okay. So assume that you are still, he just mentioned one comment to you, and he said like, okay, he said he will give you some more comments by tomorrow. So but before that, if you want to check in if you want to share this to everyone, you should change the version, because if you tell like the version number is 0.0, they will tell we already have it. The reason why we keep on changing version numbers is so that everyone will have the same version number. If you don't change the version number, what is the scenario for this? Like, how do you ensure that everyone, whoever has, is the latest version? So imagine this test case has to be used by 50 developers, or this test cases has to be tested, has to be used by 15 QS. So now you will tell like, I sent it 2 days back. So they might have thought that they already have it. So what is the way differentiate to that they have the latest one? The only way to all of them to know is using version number. So every time when you make change in this document, please ensure that you will change the version number. Otherwise, some of the testers might be using the old one, and they will end up in testing in the wrong format of test case. That again comes with the rework. Now you understood why do we need to always change the version number, and developers will not tell anything about this because this is your baby. So test case document is for something which is actually created and maintained by the testers. Okay, so any questions here? Okay. So in our project we have something like version number convention, version naming convention. So very much previously defined as if the change is trivial or minor, just change it to 0.0. I mean, just change the decimal place. And if the change is if the change is major change, in that case, go change the version number from 1.0 to 2.0. Okay. Now let's go back. Yeah, go ahead.
Before I thought version control, version number, these are related to the application. But here it seems like it's related to the test cases. So
No. Version control is different from version number. I think you are getting confused here. So every document will have version number. Okay, every document, either it can be test case document, requirements document, design document, everything will have version number. It's just to maintain the version of the document. But whereas version control mechanism is different. We use like TFS, we use some tools like SVN where the code is maintained, where we do code. Versions of the code.
So it's related to the code, then it will be the version control, some other tool you have to use.
Correct. So let me tell one simple example. So okay. Now, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so when the developers release changed application, then that version is different than this version, right?
No, let me tell you. Let me explain a bit on this. Okay. So I think you have a bit of confusion on version control mechanism. So anyone knows what is version control? Okay. So I'll be telling. Anyone knows what is version control? Change in the documentation.
Version control is to check out the application, make any necessary changes, and then check in the application and control the access of application by different users.
Perfect. Yeah, that is perfect example. See, for example, okay, one more question. I'm changing this document, right? Imagine I want to send it to 100 people. So every time when I make this change, do you think I'll send a mail to 100 people? So in companies, we have something called version control tools, or in companies, you do it in a SharePoint. So what you will do, you will update this and you will change the version number and put it in the SharePoint website. So for documents, mostly people will be using SharePoint, but for code, people will not use SharePoint. So what is the use of version control tool is, I have some code which every day someone will be modifying. So imagine in my computer, I modified the code, a lot of code has been modified, and I went to home and my system got crashed. What happened to my code? Whatever I changed? So whatever code I have changed, that's gone. So for that reason, they maintain a version control tool where you will maintain your code safely as well as you will maintain versions safely. I'll tell one more example. Every day, I ask my developers, like every day when they are leaving for the day from office, they have to shelve the code, or they have to take a patch and put it in the file server somewhere, or they have to do check in the code. If they have done the testing, they can check in the code. So all this code, what I mean by check-in or shelving or whatever is there, it will add the code to the server. Now even if he goes to home and he lost his laptop or his system got crashed, the code will be safer in the server. And one more reason why we use version control is, imagine I started working on some changes, but after 10 days the management decided that these changes are not required. I have to roll back the changes whatever I did for the past 10 days. So if I don't have proper version control mechanism, I cannot take it to exactly 10 days back code which I have. Even I can compare what is the code yesterday I was developing and today I was developing. So for all those reasons, you need a tool called version control mechanism. Version control mechanism is primarily used to maintain different versions, verify what changes you made when compared to the previous version. Okay, so one more simple example I'll give you. So if you see here, I just changed this precondition to scenario. So if somebody sees this, what is that I changed? So nobody can tell in this case. So for that reason, we have in version control tool, we will also have a scenario called compare with the previous version. Okay, so anyway, that is called version control tool. Version control tool is primarily used for code, and for documents we'll use SharePoint. Okay, so is it clear now, all of you? Okay, now okay, so every document will have version. Okay, this is called version. So version control is for code as well as for documents also, but documents we don't use any version control tools, but we use SharePoint. Okay, yeah. So even you can use even you can check in the code in version control. Even you can check in the document in version control tool. That's okay. Even version control tool will take care of the document as well. Okay, so now let's try to see. Let's try to write the test case ID. So first thing, first, for example, if I take this requirement, for example, I have a requirement like this: student name, student address. I want to save it. So first thing, what you will do is you will write test case ID as 1, or depending on whatever naming convention you follow, you will write it, and test case name as like name, student name, validation, or whatever it is. This name also depends on the company which you are working. So some companies they might have some naming convention for this. And scenario is, anyone wants to tell here what is a precondition? Yeah. So precondition, what is a precondition? In this screen you don't have any precondition because this is the first screen which you are seeing. So if you have any precondition, like for example the person has to log into the website, and that anyway we will put it in the test steps. Okay, precondition should be he should be an admin. So for example, you can put admin only will able to see the screen, so you can just mention admin logs in. Okay, so admin logs into the application. Take for example, now test case description. Yeah, here you need to write the description about test case. So what you need to do, current description. So precondition is admin logs into the application. Okay, he logged in, test case description, click on this tab. Okay, here checking for save functionality when the user, checking for data validation when the user clicks on save in students form page. Okay, so this is how you normally give some description about it, which should be for example, okay, and test steps you need to write one by one. Here is what you need to write one by one. First one, login to URL, you will mention your URL, http:// whatever you have. So server name, for example, if you are using test server or dev server, anyway you will not use, you will use QA server or staging server. So let's put staging server.com/students. Okay, so like this we have added some condition. So log into this URL, and then you will have you will add step by steps, so that